Well, so first of all, thank you very much for the invitation. For me, I feel very happy to be here. When I was told by Diora about the possibility to join you today, I was very happy because I was very lucky to be part of the first steps of this network, and I really feel happy to see how after 4 or 5 years later, you are able to join today and keep on growing and doing good things for the community. So, well, I'm going to talk a little bit about the journey to become, as you can see, a professional empowered advocate. I know many of you could be doing this presentation probably much better than me because you have been there for a while, but I will try to give you my insights about what is needed to become an empowered and a professional advocate, and hopefully you can feel some motivation and you can incorporate this in your daily work. So I would start a little bit by explaining a little bit my background and why I decided to move to advocacy and to live my former life as an engineer in a multinational company. In 2007, I was basically a very happy 26-year-old boy who was having a nice job, having a normal life. And for the first time in my life, I had the impact of having a serious disease in my family. My father was diagnosed with a metastatic colorectal cancer at the age of 73. By that time, I was living with my parents. I was thinking about probably moving to London for a new job. And suddenly my life stopped because I had the feeling that I needed to stay there. Also, the prognosis was not very good. The doctors told us that my father will only survive for probably 2-3 weeks, a month, no more than that. The thing is that he survived for 1 year and a half, but I always had the feeling this is probably something personal, but I have a difficult relation with my father. I think my mother told not to tell him anything about the disease, just hide it from friends and all this kinds of stuff. And it was very hard for me. And also it was hard because I was thinking, well, if my father has now a cancer, I will probably have it in the future. What I didn't know that the future was 6 months later, I became diagnosed with a Hodgkin's lymphoma. So the situation in my family was pretty hard. And at that time, I decided to do the complete opposite thing that my father was doing. I was talking to my mother, say, okay, mother, I completely understand that you want to hide my disease to my father because you don't want him to suffer, but I want to speak up. I want to do something. I want to get information. I want to meet other people like me to really understand and deal better with the situation. One of the first things I did is contacting a patient association, which I didn't know much about them at that time, but I just Googled it, everybody of us know. And I started to feel the value of what patient groups has. I started to meet people like me. I started to be able to get some information, to attend to some support groups. So I decided that I want to do something for these people. So while I was having my treatment, luckily the side effects were not so bad, so I started volunteering for this organization. I ended up with my treatment with a complete remission the 29th of December. 2 days later, my father passed away. So it was like a very tough end of the year. So I decided in 2009, I think this is what I want to do with my life. So that's why I started collaborating with this organization as a volunteer, but I wanted to do more and more. And in late 2009, I was proposed by the president of this group, the Spanish group of lymphoma, myeloma, leukemia patients, to join as the technical manager of the group, but we were only 2 at that time, so I was basically doing everything together with my colleague, from moving boxes to organizing patient days to be in touch with patients and so on. And later on in 2014, I had the chance to move to a more European level and join Myeloma Patients Europe, which is like European Federation, a little bit like the MPN Advocates Network, but working in the myeloma field. But after all, the question is why I did that in that moment, why I decided to move on. And I think most of you would feel very familiar with this. We start working or we start doing things in patient advocacy probably because some of you may have fallen here by coincidence, but most of us, we have a link and we had like a very honest and, let's say, romantic feeling that we want to help others, we want to get back to the community, and we start working on that. But when you just start working, this idealistic thing changes a little bit and you realize that advocacy takes a lot of things. It's not just helping others in general. It really demands, it really requires knowing about the science, being able to look for funding for your activities, developing educational materials, understanding about market access, regulations, treatments, and everything. And this is very hard. And I think here comes what my definition of a professional advocate is. As Giora said, it's not really about you are getting a salary for working in an organization, or even it's not having a work position in an organization. For me, you start becoming a professional advocate when you really understand that you need to invest a huge amount of time to get these three things. First of all, understanding the whole picture, what patient advocacy is, or what the disease area is, or what you are doing is. Sometimes it is very difficult. I mean, the first time you jump in here and you want to help others, you don't know much about the science behind the disease, you don't know about the stakeholders that are involved in healthcare decisions, you don't know anything about the network. So getting this whole thing, it is important. Apart from that, it is about working and educating yourself properly. Some of you may probably have some background skills, like, I don't know, I was an engineer, I know something about technology, my main background was IT, so I could do very cool websites or designs for my group, but I know nothing about the disease itself, I know nothing about research and development, I knew nothing about market access, so I have to educate on this. And also, becoming a professional advocate is being conscious that you are representing people who are suffering. And that has to make you act in a very serious and rigorous way. And one of the things that I said, it is very, very important, and I think you must all be aware of that. But if you really want to become fully involved in this whole thing, I think building capacity is a key thing. And within building capacity, I think one of the most important things here is networking and taking all the opportunities that are out there to really train yourself in the different skills that you need to develop to act in the best way possible on behalf of your community. One of the good things about networking, and you are learning this here, is the possibility to combine learnings with motivation. You probably are here for the first, second, third time, and you are sitting next to a person that might motivate you with their experience. I mean, one of the main things that I really find most valuable is the fact that I was able to meet through the way so many people that motivate me to really make me want to learn new things, to be at the top notch of the advocacy level, to really do things good. So I think this is one of the things. The other one is try to have this sentence in your course. There is always something new to learn. I mean, I have had the feeling many times with some of my colleagues that, okay, we're attending this meeting, but there is really nothing now to take about from this. We all know about this. No. There is always new things to learn. So always that you have an opportunity, take it to learn it. And also, I would say that one of the things that helped me more to improve myself and to try to do the best thing I can in advocacy is to try to go abroad. If you have the possibility to travel from your countries to international meetings, it is very, very valuable. You will really know and understand how other people is doing things in different countries. Always try to become multi-stakeholder. I mean, here you have the chance to meet with doctors, with people from the industry. In some other meetings you might find you may have the possibility to meet with someone from the regulatory space or someone from the access space, so do that. And also learn from other disease or try to participate in cross-disease actions, because this really helps you a lot. I would say that most of the things, I'm a little bit nerd in the terms of advocacy story, and I always love the example of the HIV community and how the way they did in the 90s especially has also opened me a different way of doing things in advocacy, which is probably a little bit different with the hematology and the oncology space. Other thing that I think it is important to really become professional is moving from anecdotes to really robust data and base your work on what is called evidence-based advocacy. Every time we jump in advocacy for this first time, we have our own opinion, basically because we have been affected by a disease or because someone beloved has been affected by a disease. But in many aspects, this is not going to change things for your community. I mean, your opinion, as I say, won't take you far. So try to make your case based. It's good to have your patient insights, but also try to complement it with the opinion and good data. And this is the only way that you are going to be taken seriously, because sometimes, being an advocate, it's really difficult to open some doors, so you have to open them by using evidence and hardcore data. And here is a little example. I won't go deeper into details, but I'll be happy to share with you later in the coffee break or something. We in Myeloma Patients Europe, we have been working for the last 4 years in what is called the European Atlas of Access to Myeloma Treatment. Why do we started to do that? We were approached by some of our members and told us, I have a problem with this patient in my country who is not able to access to this drug, or I have this problem with a person who is living 200 kilometers away from the hospital. We really need to change this. So we decided, okay, we can help this patient individually, but we're acting on behalf of the community, so we really need to change the model. So we started working on this project, first of all, by generating this evidence that I was talking about, which consisted in basically three things. First of all, have a review of an analysis of the multiple myeloma clinical guidelines to really have some clinical evidence on the table. We also wanted to know what were the varies perceived by the patients by running a survey in 30 countries involving patient organizations and myeloma experts and comparing this data. And together with the University of Barcelona, we were working in trying to understand the different indicators to really understand each particular health system in every European country, to really know how the system works, how are the gatekeeping mechanisms working, what are the numbers in myeloma, and so on. And right now we're currently extending this evidence by extending the database and including what is the accessibility for each myeloma drug in every European country. Once we do that, once we have this evidence, we help our members by training them and building capacity on them and mentoring them to really help them understand what are the main access barriers in their own countries, helping them to draft a strategy and go for it. And I can tell you this is working. We have been working in this pilot for the last year, and we are starting to have the first outcomes. So advocates are changing things that directly affect their community in their own countries. And for that, evidence was needed. Also, one very important thing, most of you probably have the chance to attend to medical congresses. I don't know if you are familiar with this patient advocate scene or out. Like 4 years ago, we were having some problems to access to scientific congresses, especially when we wanted to go into the scientific sessions. They were telling us, you are just patients. And we said, yeah, we are patients. That's why we want to be in the scientific sessions. We care about what you are telling there. The good thing is that over the years and through the combined effort of many advocates around the world, we have been not only able to access to these sessions, but also to be considered for the first time as healthcare professionals in some kind of way. And it is good, because now that we are able to fully participate in these congresses, we are able to know the science, to connect with the experts, also to participate in patient advocacy tracks, and to raise awareness on what we are doing. But what it is most important, and I really invite you to participate on this, most of the European medical societies are now open to have their patient advocacy working groups in which you can really participate to have discussions with the people inside, within the medical societies, to really define the agenda, define the tracks for the congresses, and so on. And I think this is a very, very nice opportunity. I have 4 minutes left, so I think I need to press the gas pedal, but hopefully I will make it. This slide, I think this is the first time you see this slide. Okay, Sarunas will show, okay. You can be involved in R&D, but Sarunas will tell you more about this. And also, another growth opportunity, something that for me sounds like science fiction, especially when I started working in advocacy in 2008, that now patients are able to have a relevant input in the regulatory space. For those of you who have been here for years, you know the EMA for the first time started accepting patients to participate in the approval process in 2006. But by that time, involving patients was basically a tick in a checklist, like I have involved a patient involvement is done. But at that time, basically, the CHMP, which is the committee which approved the drugs that are going to be available for the patients, were having their discussion, we're making a decision, and at the end of the day, they invite to join the room a patient to tell their experience or in a clinical trial based on that drug. And it was good, but it was not relevant at all. Right now, all of these, as you can see in all the regulatory space, from the pre-submission through the evaluation to post-authorization, patients have the chance, and patient organizations have the chance to participate in each one of these different committees and do this in a relevant way. Apart from that, there is something called the Patient and Consumers Working Party, which is a working group inside the EMA in which consumers and patient organizations are invited to participate. You have to fill a very full list of requirements, but once you are there, you are being consulted every single month by the EMA about different aspects. So this is a way in which you can really make your input, and I invite you to go into the EMA website to really see how you can do this. Also, you can act in an individual way. There is no need to be a patient organization, but the thing is that now we have the opportunity to do this in a different way. So I think I'm good in time now, and I'll be very open to answer any kind of questions. I really hope what I have telling these 15, 20 minutes has motivated you a little bit, but I would like to give you these key takeaway messages. First of all, you really need to be very honest with yourself and ask yourself, how far would you like to go with advocacy? As Giora said, this is a hard job. He was working in a hotel chain. I was working in engineer. I can tell you this was very strict timelines, very German in a way. We are afraid for, but this is. It means not Spanish. But this advocacy is certainly something that really, really demands from all your personal and professional skills. So if you are committed to do that, yesterday Ivolia was saying, I had to leave my job and now I'm dedicating many time to this. If you really want to dedicate your life to this, do it, because the patient community needs people like you, motivated and being able to do things. Also keep in mind that hard work, networking and skills development are essential. And also that this is not a hobby. And sometimes you might have found some people who goes to a medical congresses and they're basically spending the 4 days just doing tours around the city. This is not about that. If you really want to become a professional advocate, you have to be as rigorous, as serious as another stakeholder. Because this is about people who suffer, and you are there representing them, so act serious and rigorous. Again, base your work in evidence. As I said there, evidence, and then evidence again. And also, first of all, try to get the whole picture. Try to understand the space in which you are working. And as you are not, any one of us is God, then try to focus your efforts in those individual aspects that you like more. If it's about funding activities, become a fundraiser to really get funds and hire some people in your organization to do work. If you really like be involved in clinical development and see how you can provide those inputs into those patient preferences into clinical trial designs, move on to that, but first of all, try to get the first picture. And finally, I just would like to say thank you to all of you in a very special way. As many of you know, for the last months, we from Spain haven't sent the most proper image to the world. But here, as I feel myself a little kid of ambassador out of my country, I would like to tell you, to give you one advice: don't copy what we're doing in Spain right now. Instead of dividing, try to collaborate and to cooperate, because I think this is the way in which we can really work better and help our community. So thank you very much for your attention. I'm very happy to ask any questions. Thank you.